Hello there and welcome to the first of my flower making videos. We're going to make paper flowers on a stem using the Sizzix Susan's Garden flower die. Let's turn it round. The large rose and the Sizzix Susan's Garden toolkit, pattern paper, designer paper, and lollipop sticks. So let me show you all of the elements, and then I'm going to take you through how I made all of the roses for my vase of roses, which was the first of my ambassador projects for Graphic 45. So let's move these a minute. Let's talk about the die first. This is the large rose and it comes with all of these pieces. We've got leaves, the calyx, smaller calyx to make a flat flower, and then the rose dies, and I've used 3 of them. So let's take those away. Whoops. I only used these 3, and they were all cut out of pattern paper, which I've used the Graphic 45 Couture collection, the fabulous paper. And the reason I've chosen that is because it's got the same colour on both sides. So we've got orange, darker orange, and then the lighter colour. So any pattern paper that has got the colours on both sides, same colour, will work, as well as cardstock. And I'll show you how to do some cardstock ones with pan pastels in later videos. So I've cut out lots of leaves. Let's get them all into the right piles. There's large ones, small ones and medium-sized ones. You do need more smaller ones because the smaller ones make all of the buds. So there's more smaller ones than the middle and large size ones. So those are the flower dies. So let's move those out of the way. And then we'll move on to the toolkit. Those over there. Fabulous toolkit. It comes with scissors, some really fine tweezers, a leaf veiner and very tiny ball tool, double-ended ball tool, and then a paper curler or petal curler, and the leaf pad, which is the hard surface for veining the leaves, a small mat, non-stick mat, and the flower pad. So you need those. Let's move those out of the way. Lollipop sticks. They're available on our website. 8-inch lollipop sticks I've used. You can always cut them down, but the flowers themselves when you make them are quite large, so they need to have quite a nice long stem. So 8-inch lollipop sticks, flower wires, again available on our website, just for making small flowers, adding extra leaves, but also they are great for adding tendrils if you want to do that just by winding them around the lollipop sticks, and then you can add some extra detail to your flower arrangement. So flower wires, they're 26 gauge flower wires, again available on the website. And the last thing is the flower tape. This is the non-sticky florist tape, and I use it all of the time. So it's quite stretchy. You can cut it very easily into thinner strips, but if you stretch it out, the first thing to do with your lollipop sticks is to cover them. And to cover them, you just wrap the tape around. It's not sticky, but it does stick to itself. And then you just work it, keep it flat and work it down your lollipop stick, twisting the end to start off with your green stem. So that's the first thing to do, cover your stems with the tape. could paint them if you wanted to, but the tape's quick. And let me do 3. It's just easy. So let's whiz along. Catch the top. The top's going to be inside the rose anyway, so, and then just pull and twist as you go down. When you get to the bottom, great tape, you just rip it off. And the last one, oops. So twist it on itself to get it stuck, and then twist it down the stem and pull it off. So there's our 3 stems done. I did use another die for my roses. Let's bring a little rose in with leaves on. I wanted my rose to have floppy leaves, longer leaves than the leaves that come in the die, or the leaves that you can cut out from the die. So I've used the Sizzix, which one is it? 3D Flower and Vine. So it does make a beautiful rolled flower, and then I've cut, for the actual flower arrangement, I think I cut about 80 sets of leaves out and almost ruined the die, but they do cut out and vein at the same time. So I've got 3 of those to add to show you how to add extra leaves, but that's the die that I used. It's 658064. Right, and a glue gun. Have a glue gun ready. I did make all of these using red line tape. You wouldn't believe it, but as you roll the tape around the stems, it does, the red line back peels off, which is really, really good. However, a glue gun just makes life easier. So the first thing to do is to bring in your pad and the double-ended paper curler and 1 small petal. Let's move the petals over here, and I'm not leaning over. Oops. If you want to ink all your petals, when you cut them out, just to make it quick, if you put them all together in a pile and line all the ends up, then you can ink all the edges at the same time, which is what I've done. I've got some larger ones in here. So just put them all together like that and then ink them in one go. It just saves a lot of time. And then take one of them, and I'm going to work on the darker side, and just using the larger end of the paper curler, I'm just going to start by dragging it down the leaf, and you can see that the paper curls up. Don't press too hard because you'll rip the paper, but it does just soften the paper and it starts to crease the edges. And then I'm just going to go around the edges with the large ball tool. It does move, but that just shapes the leaf. And then on the petal there is a pointed end, and that's the end that goes up against the stem. So I'm going to put the tweezers on there and pinch the petal around the stem. And then I'm going to take, I'm left-handed, so I'm going to take the tweezers, put them onto the left-hand top side of the petal and pinch and roll, and this petal makes the centre of the rose. And if you just roll it around in your fingers, it will keep its shape, and then just open the tweezers and pull them out. So that's the centre of the rose. The next thing to do is to put some hot glue on the end of your lollipop stick. And push it up inside that bud. And it will stick. Don't worry that it's sticking out. You can flatten it if you want to, but And that's the start for your rose. So we've got 2 more of the smaller petals, and we're going to do the same thing again. So take the flat tool and work it down each of the petals. It just works the fibres and starts the petals curling. Turn them over and do the same on the other side, like that. And then turn them both over again and use the large ball tool and just work around the edges. That shapes the petals. You can see them curling up. Just turn one over, it's gone the wrong way. And then you start to get those nice creases around the edge of your petals. Then your tweezers and put them up, halfway up the petal, over that pointy end, and pinch. And pinch. And then with these two, they curl around the centre, so I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to just roll them halfway so that there is a curve. And I'm going to do that on the same side for both of them. Like that. And now they're going to go on the base of the first petal that we put on. So hot glue again. All the hot glue gets hidden. So hot glue all the way around. Take petal number 1 and it goes over the fold or the crease of the first one, and line the top edge up, and then you put the other one on the opposite side. So you get that. Pinch them together and then you roll them around that centre one. Oops. And then roll the outside petals the other way. So you get that little bud, like that. And then we need to curl it, so it's stuck, they won't fall off. So now take your tweezers and coming in from the top of the flower, just catch the very edge of the petal and just curl it backwards, as much or as little as you want. And you can do it in little sections as well. You can sort of grab a little bit, whoops, and curl it, and curl again. So that you really do get a nice curl on that underside, and then do the other one. And it does stay. It's really good. It just takes a little time and you just have to be patient. So that's a very small bud. You can stick these two ends down if you want. I think we will. So a little bit of hot glue. Have to remember that the rose, you can see right down into the centre of the rose, so you don't want to travel upwards, up your lollipop stick. You want everything to be added from the bottom, and it needs to curl outwards from the bottom. But you can just catch those, so you should be able to see down the centre. So that's a very tiny bud, and if you wanted some of those you would add the calyx at that stage. But I'm going to carry on and put the next layer of petals on. So this time we're going to do 3 of the smaller ones. So let's get our flat tool. So just flatten them out, not too hard, but enough to start the paper curling. They do travel about a bit. You could do lots of these all at the same time, rather than stop, start, and then you'd have them all ready to make your flower. Just turn that one over. And then I'm just going to whiz around on the dark side with the larger ball tool. That one. Then the tweezers, so pinch them from that pointy end, whoops, and pinch, and pinch. And if you wanted to shape them even more, after you've pinched them, just at the top of the pinch mark, which is about 1 centimetre up from that point, just use your ball tool just to add a little bit more curl. Oops. Like that, because the rose comes out that sort of shape. Excuse my hands. Okay, right. Now we need some more glue. So you put your glue over where the paper joins the stem, just above the join on the paper itself, but don't travel up too far. And then you start over the join and you put petal number 1 on, so that the bottom of the paper is at the same point as the papers that you've added underneath, and these 3 all fit nicely spaced around your lollipop stick, and they go under, over, under, over, under, over, because the rose unfurls concentrically. So we'll just leave that a couple of minutes, just let the glue dry. I'll have a slurp of coffee. And now we should be ready to work with these petals. So the first thing to do is to make sure that your petal goes under the one behind it. Turn it round and make sure that petal goes over here and under here, and the same with the last one, over and under, and then just roll it like that in your hand just to get it bud shaped. And then you start with your tweezers again and you unfurl them, and you unfurl the side of the petal that's on the outside. So I'll do that. Oops. I do twang off a bit, but oops. It does take a bit of practice. I'm quite used to working with cocktail sticks and sugar paste, and to work with tweezers was a bit strange, so it took me a little while just to get into the swing of how to use them. Let's go over on that top one. But you can really grab a tiny little edge and curl it over like that. So that's a larger bud, and again, if you wanted at that stage to add a calyx on the back, whoops, then you can. And I'll show you how to put the calyx on right at the end, but the process is the same. So that's 6 petals and 6 of the small. If you want to then go on and make the next size one, which is this, then you add 5 of the middle size petals. So let's do that. They're all shaped, and these are the large ones, what am I doing? They're all shaped in the same way. 2, 3, there's a large. I've got them all confused. 2, that's 5. So I'll show you one, and then if you want to, if you're following along and doing it at the same time, if you do all of your 5, but again, before you make your flower, oh, what am I doing? Wrong tool. Before you make your flower, if you do all of your petals and shape them all, then putting the flower together actually doesn't take that long. So we'll flatten the paper first, and that flattens the fibres. Designer papers are quite thick. And then take your ball tool, work it around the edge. Just inside the edge really gives you if you work it just inside the edge, it really gives you a nice crinkle. Can you see? And it really curves the petal up, so you go from flat to that. Oh, I'll carry on and do them. Let's just. So that one all the way across. Let's do all of those first. Oh, now I've got 6. And then we'll turn them over, do the other side. Oops, move Mr. Bevel. And turn them over. Did I do him on the back? I'll do him again. Turn them over, large ball tool, half on, half off if you want a really nice curly petal. You can be quite firm with this. The ball tool won't rip the paper, it's the other one that can. Because rose petals have some lovely creases in, but they are so delicate. You're obviously not going to get that with designer pattern paper, but they do look beautiful. And then pinch them with your tweezers, so half on, half off, halfway up rather, and give them a good pinch. Oh, what's happened to him? He's split. And pinch. It also gives a nice indentation at the bottom of the petal as well, that helps when you're putting it onto your lollipop stick. So they're all pinched, and now they're ready to add to the flower. So bring your flower back in, hot glue all the way around that stem. I have found the more hot glue you put on, obviously the longer they take to stick. So again, you take your petals and you put them with the curly side, so they're shaped like that, and you start over a join and go add them in the same way, going the same way that you did before. And they do fit round, but you need to put them quite close together. So what I'm doing is just making sure that all of the little points at the end actually sit around the lollipop stick. Whoop, he's dropped off. And they go under, over again. And then once they're all on, then you can just shape them like that. But only pinching at the bottom, right at the very bottom, just where the glue is, just to stick those bottom edges down. And then it's back to our tweezers. Have a look at where your petals are sitting. You want them all to be overlapped, and they should all be at the same height that the centre is. And then once you're comfortable that they're all sitting and they're stuck, then start curling them out again. Let's go see who's at the door. Back in a minute. I'm back. That was my lovely delivery man with the new bags for my new Ultime chipboard pieces, so I can put those up on the website. Woohoo! Anyway, back to the flowers. So we've got all our petals on, and now we're going to use the tweezers just to work around and roll out those outside petals. And you can use the tweezers and come in from the top just to curl the top of the petal, and then you can follow that curl all the way round. You might find it easier to work from the back of the flower than the front. Let's try it. You get a really nice curl, and you can take the top over. Whoops, let's just pinch and twist. So let's do that this way. If you rip the paper as you're doing it, which I have done sometimes, just roll to the rip and then go in and just re-roll over the top of it, and that will hide that little rip. So come in from the side, roll, whoops, turn the tweezers over and roll, and you can roll right down that petal. They do slip off, but keep going. And you can see the roses starting to take shape. So let's roll that one. Now mine's ripped, see? So if I go in and re-roll that one, you can hide that. Twang. Let's roll it right down and roll it under. Whoops. And then if you want to use your so there it is. That's what it looks like. If you want to use your tweezers then just to add some more shaping, you can go in from the top and just twist your tweezers, and it just kinks the paper slightly. And that's a half blown rose. And then again you could add your calyx. So let's bring the half blown rose in. So here's the one I made, and add the calyx to the back, and then you've got your buds and your half-size roses. Oops, let's hold them still. There they are. But if you want to go on and make, let's bring the large one in, the large rose in, then you go to your larger petals and you add another 5. So let's bring those back in and stick them on, and I'll show you then how to put the calyx on at the end. So here are my petals all ready to go. I have made sure that they are quite shaped just above where the tweezer pinch finishes, because again I want them to sort of shape outwards. And then we're going to add them in the same way as we did the middle layer. So glue all the way around just where the paper touches the wire, lollipop stick, and then again starting over a join or an edge, I'm going to stick them on so that all of the ends are together. Twist your lollipop stick as you go, don't worry if they fall backwards. And then the last one you just slide under the first and stick it down, so you get that sort of shape like that, and then just squash them and pinch where they've joined the lollipop stick. Just wait till the glue dries a little bit because it can be quite hot. But can you see I haven't squashed them so that they're trumpet-like. They are coming out from the bottom, and that's the way you get that lovely rose shape. Right, they're stuck, so let's just make sure that they're all overlapping, and then we start with those lovely tweezers again, and I think I'm going to go in from the back as well, and you start rolling outwards. Pinch and roll, far down as you want to go. Perhaps I'll turn it over, actually. You'll find what's comfortable with you. Oh, busy morning, hold on a minute. That one was Graphic 45 paper delivery. Oh, how exciting. More for the web. Okay, right, keep rolling. And you can pull these petals out as far as you want to and roll. Just keep pinching the edge. You only need your tweezers right on the edge. Oops. And again, it is a bit fiddly, but the more you do, the more comfortable you'll get with where to put your tweezers on and how to roll, or how far you want to roll the petals. But you really can get some gorgeous shapes. You see, with these tweezers. You can do it with cocktail stick, but it's not the same, it's not as tight. So I'm just doing the very edges, just makes a nice little detail to them. And that's it, that's the big rose. So you keep on rolling, keep on rolling. If you wanted to make it even bigger, then you'd go around again with 5 petals, keep adding 5, and make sure that as you add them, you add the next layer over the joins of the one underneath. So let's just curl that little bit there. But you can carry on fiddling with them forever. And that there. A really nice, tiny little furl. And you can roll them right back if you want to as well, to make them as big as you want. So I'm going to stop there with those layers, and then you can move them. You can go in, if you want to sort of curl petals that are towards the middle, just go in and pinch them and curl them until you've got your rose to the shape that you want it. Oops, was that on camera? I've gone in a bit far really, I think. Let's go there. So the calyx. I love this bit. So just green cardstock. I'm going to have the non-shiny side outwards. So I'm going to curl the shiny side. So take your ball tool and first of all just rub it backwards and forwards on your pad over the large bottom part, and then up and down each of the points. Whoops. And it curls up, and you want it to curl up like that, and then put your glue all the way over the back. Take your lollipop stick, ow, don't burn yourself, and you literally just wrap it around the stick. It just fits, can you see, and join it at those 2 little edges. There is a little tab on there, but you do need to have glue under the end. Let's put a bit more on. Mind your fingers, pinch, and then if you just hold it, the nice thing with the hot glue is if you've got any little bits sticking out, you can just roll them off as it dries, and then roll it round in your finger, and that just fits the bottom to the wire or the lollipop stick, and that's it. And the reason I use the lollipop sticks is because you can bend them. So you can arrange your flowers however you want in your vase. And if you wanted to, you could make them longer by just taping 2 together. Right, now let's move on to the leaves. If you were going to use the Susan's Garden leaf that comes with the kit, the die, I'm just going to soften it with the ball tool. Oops. It's alive first, and then I'm going to bring in the leaf pad, which is this felty one, and with the very tiny, it's the leaf veiner, which has got the little tiny ball tool on the other end. I'm going to put some veins on the wrong side first. So I'm going to put the centre vein on. So working from the edge of the petal, I'm just going to drag that tool straight down the middle on the 3 leaves. Like that. And then I'm going to turn it over. You can see those veins. I'm just going to follow them again on that side. And then a rose leaf has little veins coming out from that. So using the tool, I'm just going to put those on. So from the centre vein, if you're not sure how the veins on the flowers and the leaves go, just look them up on the net and just have a picture in your mind to follow. And the last one. So I'm pressing quite hard, but not hard enough to split the paper, but it is adding the veins. Now if you wanted to put some pan pastel on that or some chalk just to highlight those veins, now's the time to do it. And then you take your tweezers and you're going to shape at the bottom, but also pinch the ends as well and curl them. And pinch and curl. If you wanted to use the very tiny little ball tool right on the very edge, that does crinkle the edge. Whoops. Flips the leaf as well, but let's go up one. Just flattens it. Best to go back to your pad though, your thick pad, to do any curling. So it doesn't take the veins out if you press gently. So there's my little leaf. Now you can either stick it onto your stem like that, or you can stick it to a wire. Let's get the old wire. Let me just cut it. Straight bit, and to stick it to the wire, I'm going to stick the wire underneath. So a little bit of glue on the tip of the wire just to cover it, and then I'm just going to hold it onto the back of that leaf. With sugar paste wires, you push that into the middle of the sugar paste so you can't see it, but we can't do that. But that will sit on the wire. And then just pinch that little green end around the wire so that it looks like it's sitting on there properly. And then, where's the flower tape? I'm going to take some tape. Now because the wire is narrow, I'm going to cut my tape in half. You can buy a shredder to do this, but I'd recommend doing it with a large pair of scissors so you don't have to chop and cut so many times. Whoops. It doesn't have to be exact. Another way to do this, if you wanted to have a lot of sections of half tape, is to actually use your craft knife on the roll of tape and just split it while it's on the roll. Right, we're done. Let's take the glue off my fingers. And starting with that end, you want to start away from the join, the paper join, fold the tape around the wire, and then get your roll going and push it up to meet the join where the paper joins the wire. Pull it tight, and then I'm twisting with my finger and thumb and pulling with this hand, and it pulls the tape around the wire, and then that looks like a proper leaf, not a piece of paper stuck on a wire. And then of course that means that you can shape the wire and put it onto your rose stem wherever you want to. And again, I'm going to put it like that, and I'm going to use the tape to attach it, so the tape goes around like that, and then you pull it down and cover the tail of the wire. So now we've got a rose with a leaf, and a leaf that you can move about that's got a little bit of support. Now the other way I made the leaves for my flower arrangement was to take 2 of these Sizzix die leaves and join them together, and I did that just by putting the glue on this long stalk and then sticking the second leaf over the top. If you do it on your non-stick mat, then you can move it about and get any excess glue off the stem. Then I trimmed the stem so that it didn't look like there was 2 stuck together. Just trim that glue off like that. And then I trimmed this long stalk off here, and also the one underneath. So that gave me a really nice spray of leaves. Now again, you can add that to a wire. Let's get another one. Or you can just tape it onto your flowers, but if you want it to have a bit of life in it, I would recommend putting it onto the wire. And so you just need to put a little bit of glue down your wire, roll the wire and just smooth the glue around it, turn your leaf set over and stick the wire along the back of that stem so it's on, and then take your tape, and where the paper joins the wire, we're going to cover that with the tape. So tape over, pinch it and twist. So it's a real pull and twist action, and then you get a really nicely covered wire. And also now that whole spray will bend. If it comes off at the back, just add a little bit more glue to the wire rather than the paper. Let's just use the scissors just to push it down, just while it dries. Don't want the scissors to get stuck. And then that one is ready to go onto the stem as well. So you can add it wherever you want, and add it with the tape. So tape around, catch the end, pinch the end over the wire, make sure that you've got your leaves where you want them, and then, whoops, it does rip, but don't worry, you just twist and tape all the way down. And that's it. That's how to make a paper paper rose on a stem and a beautiful flower arrangement. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you join me again for some more flower workshops that I've got to sit down and do, but will be coming soon.